All right, yes. So good morning, guys. Good morning, everyone. So before I start today's session, so I have a couple of updates, guys. So last Saturday we had conducted one scripting test, and 25 plus people participated in that scripting contest. So we had conducted, offline in Amirpet and online for our students, and we invited other institute students also, but there is not much participation actually. No one came forward. Okay, basically. Right? So, I mean, they expressed their interest, but they did not turn up at the venue. Okay. So they joined this WhatsApp group, performance testing scripting competition, which was conducted by us. There are a lot of outsiders who joined this WhatsApp group, but they did not turn up. Okay. So we had conducted it from 10 to 1 a.m. on Saturday, and we had invited, Rupesh Garg, CEO of one QA-based company called Frugal Testing. So we had invited CEO of this company called Frugal Testing. So, and and we had given, participation certificates to everyone, right? To everyone who participated, because, what we felt is participation is important. So, 25 people, 25 of our students came forward and they had participated. And based on the response from them and, based on the success of this program, so we had planned to conduct this every month. It will be a monthly exercise. Every month we will be conducting this scripting competition, guys. Okay. And the next venue, I mean, we are planning to conduct it in this office for next month in a corporate environment. Okay. Hold on, let me. And we had prepared ID cards to all our students and, all set for next month scripting contest. So we are planning to conduct this in this venue. All right. So which is in Madhapur, guys. So that, like you will tomorrow, whenever there is a scripting contest in an office, so you will not feel tensed. You will get accustomed to that. Our students will get accustomed to that environment and they will feel comfortable, going there and participating. Right. So a few organizations conduct scripting tests. Few organizations conduct scripting test as part of the evaluation process. Understood, guys? First, they will conduct scripting test and then they will conduct technical interviews to those who cleared that scripting test only. Right. So that is the reason we have been conducting this scripting competition. And also not only that, they will practice, everyone will practice now. Right. Those who are already practicing, they will understand, how much they are able to assimilate and how much they are able to implement that on the real-time projects. Isn't it? So we took this initiative. We are planning this from almost more than a year, and finally we made it last Saturday. And we want to repeat this every month, this scripting competition every month. So for that, we have a separate WhatsApp group. Those who are interested, please join that WhatsApp group. Those who are interested, for our students, online also will be allowed. But for other students, other institute students, they have to come to offline only. So that is the plan as of now. Okay. And let me share the photos. Let me quickly show the, yeah. So these are the founders of Frugal Testing, Rupesh Garg and Bharti Garg. And then these are the other pics that we captured on that day. So we gave participation certificate to everyone. We faced some technical challenges over there. I mean, the websites were slow on that day. The websites that we had chosen, maybe because of Saturday, the websites are slow. And this would be the venue for the next month one. Okay. So all right, this. So let us start with let me start with a quick recap of the previous day concepts or quick assessment on the previous day concepts. Okay. So Bhavya, what is unit testing?
In unit testing, we can test the piece of code by the developer, what they written.
Right. Unit testing is something done by developers, and they test the small piece of code that they had developed, right? And in which environment they test that? They do that unit testing. They do that in the same dev environment, development environment. Hi, Ayesha, good morning. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And now what is integration testing? Guna? Guna, what is integration testing? Guna, what is integration testing? Okay, please unmute yourself first. Can you please unmute yourself? I'm sending a request to unmute. You are not responding. Guna, are you with us? Guys, please, I asked you last session itself, please check your speaker and microphone. Once you join the Zoom meeting, please test your speaker and microphone. Okay. So I cannot have silent spectators. So I will not allow silent spectators. Okay. I'll push them to the waiting room or I'll exclude from the batch. I cannot definitely, I don't want to have silent spectators who just join and, who don't want to speak or who cannot speak. So please understand. Okay. What is integration testing, Mahesh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mahesh,
Yeah.
what is integration testing?
Yeah. Integration testing is nothing but it will test in the integration level.
Now, what is meant by integration, first of all? Here, in this case, what is meant by integration?
Integration is nothing but the combination of environments.
Combination of?
Environments.
Combination of environments, no? Surendra, what is integration testing?
Hello. It is a combination of small amount of code.
Yeah, Guna, we are able to hear you.
Yeah, sorry, Pavan. Actually, I have an IT issue. It's not really okay.
Please test your speaker and microphone. In Zoom meeting, you have an option to test your speaker and microphone, right? You see a audio, you see an option called audio in the Zoom meeting controls. Next to that, there will be an option called test speaker and microphone, right? So if you use that, you will hear a ringtone like this. If you are hearing the ringtone, say yes, and then it will touch the microphone.
Okay.
Right. So please do that. Please do that. Like once you join the meeting, please verify that. Okay. So what is integration testing, Guna?
So integration is nothing but adding the multiple layers. So if we have the multiple developers, they will develop each functionality. So if all the functionality of the code, we will combine at one place, and if we do the testing for entire code, let's assume that if we are working with one microservice, so in that microservice we have different functionalities. So few of the developers were developing developed a different piece of code, like a different functionality were developed by different developers. At the end, we will integrate all the functionality to form a single microservice. So to achieve that microservice, we will form a single piece of code, like the entire code will be a single piece of code. We will test that entire code, integrating all that code, and we will test that entire code is nothing but integration test.
Right. So integration testing is a type of testing that is done once all the software modules are integrated together, right? All the software modules are integrated together. So, we do integration testing. Our SIT team does that integration testing to verify if there are any defects in the interaction between each module, right? So we had discussed this in detail, isn't it? And I gave some example as well. I gave some Gmail example where, like you'll have different, apps, Google apps, isn't it? So once these are integrated together, so each of these apps are developed by different programmers or different teams, And once all these apps are integrated together, they should work seamlessly. If I click on Google Drive, it should take me to the Google Drive with the same account, isn't it? So if you know whatever app I select from here, so it should take me to that. It should launch that particular app, and it should work seamlessly, isn't it? With the same account, you see here, I had logged into this account with this account, perftest.kb@gmail.com. It should open that app, with the same Gmail account, right? And it should work. They should work seamlessly, isn't it? So that is integration testing. And then after integration testing, we do something called, yes, what is the next type of testing that will be done?
Testing. Functional testing.
Functional testing, right? Now, what is functional testing? Functional testing is testing the functionality of the application, or it is tested against the functional requirements or specifications of the application. It is tested against the functional requirements or specifications of the application. Okay, so let me take some example. And it is also called as black box testing. First of all, functional testing is also called as black box testing, and it is done by QA team in the QA environment, isn't it? Functional testing is done in an environment called QA environment, where QA stands for quality analysis or assurance. Quality analysis or assurance. Now, what is functional testing? So let me take a private browser for this. Hey, someone joined with display name as Rahul. May I know who is this? Rahul Kumar. Can you please speak on? Hey, someone joined with display name as Rahul Kumar. Yeah, we know that. Some people don't want to speak out, right? So, yeah. All right. So suppose, let us take the same Gmail example. I took a private browser for this, right? So, and I hope everyone know what is difference between a normal browser and a private browser, right? If not, we'll discuss that later. What is the difference between a normal browser and a private browser, guys?
It will be not having the history. It will not keep up the history and cookies. That will not be maintained in a private browser.
Right, right. So no, a private browser doesn't store the browsing history, and it will not store the cookies and all, isn't it? Right. So you can see it, read it over here, guys. Please read it over here. Those who are from non-computers background, you should know the difference between a normal browser and a private browser. Those who are from computers background, I hope they already know that. If not, please go through this. So please go through this description. So when you are using Chrome in a private browser, see, this is called as Chrome calls it as incognito, isn't it? So Edge calls it as private browser only. See, this is normal browser of Edge. Okay, this is normal browser of Edge, and if you launch private browser, how to launch private browser? Use the shortcut Control-Shift-N, or else use the shortcut new in private window. Edge calls it as in private, and even Firefox calls it as in private. Chrome calls it as incognito. Okay, Chrome calls it as incognito. So when you are using a private browser, Chrome won't save your browsing history, cookies and site data, whatever information that you entered in the forms, they will not be saved in the browser, right? When you are using a private browser, you know what is meant by browsing history, right? Let me go to normal browser and show that. So in normal browser, you have an option called, if you click on these three dots on the right side, top right, you'll have an option called history, isn't it? Which will show you what are the websites that that were visited on this laptop, isn't it? Whereas in a private browser, you will not have at all. You will not have a history option at all, right? If you click on the three dots, you will not have a history option at all, because your browsing history will not be saved, and cookies and site data also will not be saved, and whatever information you entered in the forms also will not be saved, isn't it? So this is the primary difference between normal browser and private browser. Okay, now coming back to this functional testing. So see, so why I have opened this private browser is, if I use a normal browser, I will be automatically logged into my account, isn't it? If I use a normal browser, and if I type gmail.com, right? So it will automatically log into my account, right? Because I am already logged into my Gmail account here in this browser, in this normal browser. So that is the reason I am choosing a private browser. Understood, guys? So let me Let me choose a private browser again. So if I type gmail.com, so I will be on the home page, right? Like this. And now, so what is the requirement here? Suppose here I am supposed to enter my email or phone number, right? Okay. Now, once I enter, once I enter some Gmail, if it is a valid Gmail, it should ask me, it should, the application should prompt me for what should happen next if I click on next. If I click next button, what should happen in the next screen?
Password.
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 If this is a valid Gmail ID, the application should ask me for a password for my password, isn't it? It should ask for my password. Otherwise, if it is not a valid Gmail ID, for example, if I enter some junk characters like this, right? Now what should happen if I click on next? Is this a valid Gmail ID?
No, sir.
It can't be a valid Gmail ID, isn't it? These special characters are not allowed, right? Now suppose if I click on next, what should happen now, guys? What will happen if I click next?
It is invalid.
Ask to enter
Yes, it should.
correct email ID.
Right. So Gmail application should display a error message saying that this is a valid, enter a valid email or phone number, isn't it? So these are the requirements of this login page. This is how, like these are the requirements or specifications of the login page, isn't it? If I click on sign in, if I enter a valid Gmail address, it should ask me, the application should prompt or it should ask me for a password. If it is an invalid Gmail ID, it should throw an error message. Can I do like this instead of, if I click next, what happens now? If I don't enter at gmail.com, what happens? This is a valid Gmail ID, right?
Same thing. It will ask us to proper name.
Even though you don't enter at gmail.com, it will ask for password, isn't it? So it should allow both of these, because we are already on Gmail domain. So it will, automatically identify that and see, observe here, it is displaying my Gmail ID here, isn't it? So it should work either ways. Even if I enter like this, or if I enter at gmail.com, it should work in either ways, right? That is how the requirements are specified. That is how the requirements are for this Gmail login page, isn't it? So this is called as functional testing. This is, this is called as, functional testing. Functional testing is a black box testing where the system means where the application. Okay, let me, maybe system, rather than system, this is more meaningful. Where the application is tested against the functional requirements or the specifications, right? Features or functions are tested by feeding them input and examining the output. So what does functional testing team does? They will, they will know what input we have to give and what is the output that we are getting, isn't it? So features or functions are tested by feeding them input and examining the output. Here in this case, Gmail ID is the input here, and we are observing the output, what output you are getting from that page, isn't it? So functional testing ensures that the software requirements are properly satisfied by the application, isn't it? Functional testing ensures that the software requirements are properly satisfied by the application. Is it clear, guys? What is functional testing? Right? And it is done in a QA environment called QA environment. And it is also called as functional testing is also called as black box testing. Now let us understand why is it called as black box testing. Anyone, most of you may be knowing that, right? Or some of you may be knowing that. Why is it called as black box testing?
Because Pavan, where the code will not be seen, the tester will be testing it from the user perspective. They'll only be verify the functionality of an application or the behavior of an application.
Exactly. Right. So for this QA team need not know the code of that application, right? In which programming language that code is developed or that application is developed, right? And how to write that code and all, definitely he will not be aware or he need not be aware. So it will be done from an end user perspective. So everything is black box to that QA team or testing team. It is a black box. The application is a black box. They don't know what is inside it, right? That is why it is called as a black box testing. Functional testing is also called as black box testing. Important question, guys, basic question, fundamental question. What is white box testing and what is black box testing? Okay. Any queries? I'll take a pause here. Any queries before I move to performance testing? So I'll write it down in your class notes document. Okay. What is white box testing, or what is the difference between white box testing and black box testing? Or, what is white box testing? What is black box testing? So this question can be asked in multiple ways. What is black box testing? What is the difference between both of them, right? And now the next type of testing is performance testing, right? So functional testing, functional testing team will be testing the functionality of the application, and performance testing is non-functional testing, right? A very important thing to remember, like if someone asks you what is performance testing, I would like you to answer in this way. Performance testing is non-functional testing. Mention that word or emphasize that, highlight that statement, that performance testing is non-functional testing. So because we don't bother about or we will not focus on the functionality of the application, because there is a separate team for that. There is a separate QA team for that, or there is a separate functional testing team for that. Whereas performance testing is non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, responsiveness, stability of a computer network, software program, or device under a workload. So performance testing is non-functional testing to determine speed. What is meant by speed? Speed is nothing but response time of the application. Speed is nothing but response time of the application. So let us say you are visiting this website apple.com, right? So once you hit the URL, once you enter the URL and hit the URL, definitely it will take some couple of seconds to get the page loaded, right? Say I had hit enter and now it is processing. Observe here, it is processing, and it took some 3 or 4 seconds to load the page, isn't it? So this is nothing but speed. Speed is nothing but response time, how much time it is taking to get the page loaded, isn't it? So that is the first and foremost factor for doing performance testing. So performance testing is non-functional testing to determine speed, responsiveness, stability of a computer network, software program, or a device under workload. When there are, what is meant by workload here? When there are thousands or lakhs of users who are accessing the application, how fast it is and how responsive it is, and how stable the application is under workload, right? So performance testing is a non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. If you want to state it in one sentence, it is a non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. Okay. So guys, once we complete this 2 weeks of first 2 weeks of this training, we'll have a weekly test. Okay. We'll have a weekly test, and that will be shared as an online test to everyone. I will share an online test, and there will be 15 MCQ, multiple choice questions. And not only that, after completing 1 month, we recently started this monthly test as well. So let me quickly show you that. So this is the first question in that, monthly written test. Okay. Of course, we will be changing these questions. I just want to show you last month monthly test that we had conducted. I mean, for the last batch, sorry, not last month, we had conducted recently. There will be a MRT, monthly retention test. There will be weekly written test and monthly test as well. Okay. And this is the first question in that. What is performance testing? Okay. So, there will be 40 questions, to answer. There will be a total of 40 questions. Weekly test will be MCQ only, right? As I mentioned in the, in the demo, we'll conduct weekly tests and monthly tests. So then only you will prepare, guys. Otherwise, you will not prepare. You will think that, we understood everything, basically, right? As we mentioned in the demo program, so in the demo session, so we'll have weekly and monthly assessments. So weekly test will be multiple choice questions. Monthly test will be like this, descriptive questions. There will be, questions which need to be answered in 1 or 2 sentences, right? So if possible, please try to come to the classroom. Online guys, what they are doing is that they're simply copying, or they are opening the training material, or they are doing Google search and they are answering it. That will not be helpful to you in any way. That will not get a real assessment of yourself, isn't it? So if possible, please try to come to classroom in Amirpet, and we are planning to start in Madhapur as well. Okay. So if we are planning to, if we have enough strength, if we have enough strength, we are planning to run one batch, morning batch in this Madhapur office also. If we have at least 15 people in the Madhapur, right, like, the timings will be 9 to 10 a.m. Timings will be 9 to 10 a.m. So we can, adjust those timings plus or minus half an hour by plus or minus half an hour. So this building is close to Rameswaram Cave in Madhapur. Or, Rameswaram Cave is close to this building actually. First this building came up and then next to this Rameswaram Cave came up over there. Anyone visited Rameswaram Cave in Hyderabad? No? How many of you are from Hyderabad guys here? Guys, am I audible? No one is from Hyderabad here?
Yeah, yes, myself.
Mahesh, you are in Hyderabad, okay. Surendra also in Hyderabad, right?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Okay. So don't miss this, weekly test and monthly test. It's mandatory for everyone to attempt those. Right? I'm going to change this question slightly. That's why, I'm showing this, guys. But this is one of those questions. What is white box testing? What are the 6 phases of SDLC? Right? What is VPN? What is public IP? What is private IP? How to check the public IP and private IP? Right? So, so we are the very few ones, few training institutes who are covering all these basic concepts. Right? So if you join, any other institute, like they will start LoadRunner or JMeter on 2nd day or 3rd day. Right? But in our case, we have been starting, we'll spend the first 15 hours on only fundamental concepts. Right? So please, please go through the recorded sessions. If you did not understand, please do a Google search or watch some YouTube videos. For example, if you come across some concept like, VPN, you can watch some videos on VPN if you don't understand. So we cannot cover in detail over here, right? We cannot spend 1 or 2 hours on that VPN only. So if you come across any such new concept, so please go watch some videos on YouTube on that particular VPN. If you come across any completely new concept to you, okay. But we'll cover what are concepts you need to learn as a fundamental concepts, right? What is host name, or what is LAN and WAN, what is VPN, right? So these are what is host file. Right, host file, I will cover that in the training. Port number also will be covered in detail. And I had explained VPN at a high level. But if you want to explore further, please go through some articles, or watch some videos on VPN. Right, most of the organizations use VPN, or most of the clients provide their access to their VPN to access the application. Clear, guys? Now let me go to the performance testing. Yeah. So performance testing is non-functional testing to determine speed, responsiveness, stability of a computer network software program and or a device under load, right? And it is performance testing is done in a separate environment called test environment or engineering environment. There will be a dedicated environment for performance testing. Some organizations call it as test environment, and few organizations call it as engineering environment. Okay, few organizations call it as engineering environment, right? And now let's move on. And the next type of testing is security testing. So, sir, not all clients do security testing. So, however, during from pandemic onwards, like they started doing this security testing as well, because more and more users are using security testing. So importance of testing has increased from pandemic time. So previously, like, clients who ignored performance testing and security testing also started doing this performance testing, because from the pandemic time, more and more users, started using online applications for, we also did that, right? For placing groceries. Even DMart has launched an app for that, for for their business, isn't it? DMart doesn't have an app for before pandemic, right? But after pandemic, they launched an app for placing orders. DMart, everyone knows DMart, right? And Heritage Supermarket, they used to have a website for Heritage Supermarket before, but during pandemic, it used to fail because there are lakhs of users who are using that. that website. And then they realized the importance of performance testing and security testing and all this. And they started doing testing. And testing market has greatly, increased, after pandemic. Because, like staying at home, most of the people are using these websites and apps to for their daily needs. And that's how, like, importance of testing has increased further. Importance of, I think I had discussed, what is the testing market size in one of my demo sessions. So I will share that. Please go through that. So we had discussed about, testing market in one of the recorded sessions, one of the demo sessions. We had discussed that, right? How much is the testing market size and all we discussed in this recorded session in detail. Okay. Job market, yes. The next type of testing is security testing, where, like in security testing, we have different types of testing, like pen testing or penetration testing, right? And bug bounty. There are a lot of different types of testing as part of the security testing. And every application requires all these types of testing. Every application requires all these types of testing, right? And now, so let me go to the next slide, wherein I had explained like what is the difference between functional and non-functional testing, or what all comes into functional testing umbrella and what all comes under non-functional testing umbrella. So unit testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing, these all come under functional testing. Whereas performance testing, security testing, usability testing, compatibility testing, all this type of testing comes under non-functional testing, right? And again, functional testing can be further classified into two types. One is manual testing, the other one is automation testing, right? So if you are not using any tools for doing functional testing, that is called as manual testing, right? For doing functional testing, if you are not using any tools, if you are doing manually without using any tools, that is called as manual testing. Whereas if the testing team is using some automation tools like Selenium, UFT, etc., that is called as automation testing. Is it clear, guys? There are two types of functional testing, manual and automation. And you should know what is the difference between manual and automation testing. I hope it is clear now, right? If you are not using any tools for doing functional testing, that is called as manual testing. Whereas if you are using any automation tools like Selenium or UFT, that is called as automation testing, right? And non-functional testing, just now we discussed that it is defined as a type of software testing to check the non-functional aspects. We check the non-functional aspects like performance, security, usability, reliability, etc. of a software application. And these are the most popular performance testing tools: LoadRunner, JMeter, and NeoLoad. These are the most popular performance testing tools. And there are around 15 to 20 popular performance testing tools. There are around 15 to 20 performance testing tools. Out of those, LoadRunner, JMeter, and NeoLoad are the most popular tools. And right now we are providing training on LoadRunner and JMeter, right? So I will be running this JMeter and BlazeMeter training, whereas we have a separate trainer and separate batch for LoadRunner. Okay, that batch timings are 9:30 to 10:30. One new batch, one batch was separate batch was running for LoadRunner from 9:30 to 10:30. Trainer name is Sham, and he is also conducting as both online and offline for us. Okay, that was started in June, guys. Actually, that was started in June, and this is the batch tracker sheet. Okay, so I'll stop it here for today. We'll continue tomorrow, guys. We'll continue to discuss, what is performance testing and, performance testing at a high level. How do we do this performance testing? So we'll discuss that tomorrow. And what are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing, right? And why do we do performance testing for an already existing application and for a newly developed application? So I will cover these 4 slides tomorrow in tomorrow's session. And day after tomorrow, we will discuss what are the different types of performance testing. In the day after tomorrow's session, we will discuss what are the different types of performance testing. If Prasanna and others, like, we are about to close the session. So in this particular daily morning batch, we are done with 5 hours approximately, and we are still at fundamental concepts. The first 1 hour was demo session, and then computer fundamentals in 2 hours. Next 2 sessions, I had covered computer fundamentals, and then SDLC, software development lifecycle, and then testing lifecycle. And yesterday and today, and I mean last session and today's session, we had discussed testing lifecycle basically, right? So last session I had covered unit and integration testing, and today I had covered functional testing and performance testing and security testing overview. So tomorrow we are going to start performance testing in detail. And what are the reasons for doing performance testing? Okay, what are the reasons for doing performance testing? That will be covered tomorrow. And for every batch, we have a playlist URL and we have a separate WhatsApp group also, guys. So this is the WhatsApp group for this batch. Hold on. July 2024. Yes, this is the WhatsApp group for this batch. Okay, so please, ping me on WhatsApp. I'll share this link to you. And we have a separate playlist URL also for every batch. We have a separate playlist URL like this. Okay, so this is the playlist URL for this batch, July 2024. And by the way, we added mobile performance testing also from this batch. Previously, I did, that was out of, we did not cover. This is the first batch where we started this mobile performance testing as well. And this is the playlist URL for this batch where you have for these 4 videos. And today's video also will be added to this playlist URL to the same playlist URL. Okay. And please ping me your Gmail ID in WhatsApp separately to me or Zoom chat. So with this, I will conclude the session for today, guys. We are on top of the hour. I will conclude the session. And see you tomorrow, 8:15, right? So 8:15 to 9 will be the session timings initially till all these fundamental concepts are completed. Once we start, what is it? What is it? Yes, we are, if we have enough strength, we are planning to split this batch into 2 batches. One is now from 9 to 10. Other one is 10:30 to 12. If we have enough strength. Otherwise, we'll continue this one. We'll continue these timings. Okay. We'll continue these timings if we don't have enough strength to split into 2 batches. Okay, I'm closing the recording.